Hi, my name's Draken. This is part 6 of the tutorials. About a year on, I do apologise for the long delay between this and the end of my part 5 of my tutorials. I've been nagged by a few people to get on and show this final tutorial, so about time I actually got on and done it. What I'm going to show today is, obviously we've gone through all the other tutorials showing you how to build a set of cyber locks. What we're going to do now is turn around and show you how to put it into your hair itself. The principle's the same regardless of whether you have the hair coming up in a single set of falls coming off the top, or whether you have 2 falls off the side. All that changes is the fact that if you have 2, you do 2 pigtails off the side instead of a top knot like I'm going to show in a moment. So, first step is obviously you need all your parts. So you obviously have your cyber falls, which I've got here. I've got one of my old red set. It's got a few different types of wool in there, it's got the crin in there, it's got the foam in there as well. You're going to need a couple of hairbands, which are going to be quite important. You're also going to need something that you're going to black off your hair if you're going to be doing that, so whether it be a hairband or a bandana or a bit of cloth. I'll go into details of that in a bit. If you're wearing goggles, obviously you're going to need those, and some hair clips as well. So the first step is we need to tie our hair up into a top knot. If we're doing it, I'm going to be showing from a single fall point of view, but you need to tie your hair up into a top knot. So we'll do that one first. And as you can now see, thanks to the magic of camera, I now have a top knot into my hair. The trick with this is obviously wherever you place your top knot is where your fall's going to be coming off. And it's always best to actually put it slightly forward from where you're thinking you're going to actually need it, because it tends to pull back slightly and go back a little bit further. So now you have this lovely top knot making it look like some sort of Japanese samurai, but that'll be in your hair. And so if you're doing a twin falls, what you do is instead of doing this, you just have 2 pigtails coming off the side. The next step is that anything like your goggles, if you're wearing goggles, or if you've got a hairband that you can be putting in one of these big thick hairbands, and the same as well if you've got these gas masks that don't clip up on the back, this is the time to put them in before you put your falls in, because otherwise they become quite difficult to put them in over the top of the falls itself. Obviously make sure your goggles the right way, and all you're going to do is just put it on your head, and then just drop it down to your neck, and that's where it's going to stay until you need them later. The next step is obviously get your falls. And what you'll find is when you set your falls up, try and have your foam so it's all on one side, if you've got foam on there, because they're going to need to be on the top of the falls itself. Now, before we get to that stage, just a quick explanation with the top knot. I do mine with just a top knot and just tie it around the hair. Some people will turn around and put this into a bun. So all you would do is if you're doing it into a bun, is just twist it and then twist it around itself and then just put another hairband around that. And what some other people do as well is they'll put a bit of cloth over the top of that as well, especially if you don't want to see your hair colour coming through. One trick I've heard is you just cut the end of an old sock off and put that over the actual entirety of the bun of the hair, and it hides it up. It doesn't matter which way you do it, it's just whichever way is the most comfortable for you and what's going to sit well for you. It's just a bit of an experimentation with it. So sorry, going back to your falls, yes, you're going to have your foam is going to be meant to be on top, but when you're going to put it on your hair, you're going to put the foam on the bottom, and you're going to tie your falls in from the front. And where you've got your band here, that's the bit that's going to be wrapped around either your bun or your top knot there. So you just put it forwards there like that. And the reason you do it this way, at the moment I'm probably looking like some cyber version of Cousin It, is just simply because when you flick it back then, it goes back over the fall itself, over the knot, and hides the knot up behind there. So you have that bit, that puts it into your hair, just make sure it's all nice and comfy. I'm doing this one quite quick today. And then the next step is just to get a couple of hair clips, simple hair clips, and just use these to put into your hair and attach the falls into it. You might want to use a mirror. I'm doing this without a mirror at the moment, so I'm not actually sure how this is looking myself. But you generally tend to be able to sort of feel and see how it is, and you can always ask people to have a look as well around you. As you've seen, the foam was put on the bottom originally when we had it forwards. This now puts the foam onto the top itself. And you might just want to reposition it a bit and make it comfy, so it's like so. Now, for some people, that's enough. That's all you need to do. A couple of hair clips in there just to hold it in place, attach it to either your bun or your top knot at the top. But the next step then for some people is they want to put the goggles on, they want to have the hairband on there. Some people don't, some people do. It depends on your style that you want to go for. What I do, instead of having a hairband, because a lot of the hairbands I find are only about 1 inch or 2 thick, they don't cover everything that you need, is that I actually get a bit of black cloth, just cut off to the right length. This is actually an old back of a t-shirt that I cut up, which I've then folded into 2. It's a nice little rectangle, and you can do it with a bandana as well, and that just goes over the front, which won't be the other way around actually, over the front there, so it's hiding up your hair that's in front of the actual thing and just pull it into position. And then what I do with this is, if it was a bandana, you could probably tie it off at the back. But with this, I just use another hairband, tie the hairband in at the back, like so. Some people use false fringes as well. If you do a false fringe, or even if you've actually got a proper fringe, and you just leave the fringe out of the top knot, it would normally protrude under here. So if you've got a false fringe, put it on before you put the hairband on itself. And then with your goggles, just bring your goggles up, put them into position, and that's you done. And then all you need to do is put your makeup on, get yourself ready, and off you go. You've got yourself a night out. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Draken, and these were my tutorials.